Well, here we are again, folks. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. Did you know that we're in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 4, that he said that love suffereth long. And then another thing he said, love is patient. And then he said, it vaunteth not itself, or is not puffed up. In other words, I'm not bigger than you are, or I'm not greater than you are, or anything else. It's, we're all on an even keel. You go down the street and you meet a street urchin or a person who is had some kind of situation that has caused him to end up on the street pretty much at the time. And you better say when you meet him, if it were not for the grace of God, that's me. If it was not for the grace of God, that is me. Reverse yourself. Reverse yourself in that role. And begin to see, to get your heart right. And get your heart right. How do you get your heart right? You have compassion on that person. Saying, first thing, hey, it would be me. If it wasn't for the grace of the Lord, that would be me. Wow. And then, don't be in a hurry to make a judgment. Don't be in a hurry to get by that person. Be in a hurry to go up to that person. Be in a hurry to say, hey, how you doing today? And help them out a little bit. To give them for their body and not for their soul is to give them nothing. But be polite. Be knowledgeable about things. And Paul said here in chapter 13, in the first verse, he said, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal. I've heard people say, oh, them Christians. Yeah, them Christians, I know about them Christians. I know how they treat me. I know what they say, but I know what they do. And I know this and I know that. You need to prove yourself to be a real Christian. Prove yourself to be true Christian, excuse me. And the verse 2, it said here, and though I have the gift of prophecy and understanding, and all mysteries, and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not love or charity, I am nothing. This is Paul the Apostle talking. This is a man who didn't show love at one time. Was going across the world killing Christians. And he didn't show love. He showed obedience to the law, but he didn't show love toward the people. And then after God saved him, he had to learn. He learned in part, in part, in part, in part, in part, in part. And that's how he learned on the road to Damascus. He got blinded, and he learned in part that it wasn't his eyesight that he needed to follow. It was the sight that Jesus gave him afterwards that he needed to follow. And so God had bestowed upon him a new thing, a charity. And he said, and though I bestow all my goods and feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. You have got to have love and charity. In this world today, it is the only thing that is going to carry the real Christian through life, is to have love for the brethren and have love for those who are outside of the brethren. You've got to love everybody. You know that Jesus loved us so much. In John 3:16, the Bible said that God gave his only son, which was Jesus, but Jesus had to volunteer to be that sacrifice for you and I. And he volunteered to do. He loved us while we were yet sinners. While I was in the slop bottle, while I was back there in my younger days drinking that booze, doing the things that were unseemly to God and man, and doing those things. Do you know that Jesus loved me then? He took his finger and he touched me through my life several times, and I wouldn't listen to him. I tore up the Bible and threw it back and said, I don't believe in none of that stuff. Don't hound me with it. Don't talk to me about it. Don't come near me with it. I don't want to hear it. But one day, 1972, 3 o'clock in the morning, God touched my heart. Drunk, out there, wrecked my car, in need of a Savior, stumbling, bumbling around, and cried out to the Lord and said, Lord, I am a sinner. Forgive me of my sin. Come in my heart and save my soul. And when I did that, you know what? The Lord came in my heart and saved my soul. And here I am today, now, saved and following the Lord. Now, verse 4 again tells us, the first thing it said is that love suffereth long and is kind. And then envieth not. That's another whole department. Love envieth not. If your neighbor gets a new car, you could walk over there and say, I sure am proud for you, man. I'm glad that you could get a nice new car. That's good. God has really blessed you, and I'm happy for you. Instead of going over there and saying, man, I wished I had that car. I don't know why I can't get one like that. That is something else. How do you manage that? Here I am, poor as a hank. Listen, that is not love. Love goes over there, and because a man has something more than you, by the way, have you learned a principle to be able to see a man that looks like he's prospering better than you and give him something? I've had to learn that lesson. To go over and give a man something that looked like he's already 10 times better off than I am, and I had to go give him something. Wow, that's a lesson you have to learn. You know, just because it looks like that man's 10 times better doesn't mean that he is. Looks is deceiving. Looks is deceiving. And by the way, the man with a brand new car got a brand new payment. And the brand new payment may be $500-600 a month, $100-something a week. He's already got his nose to the grindstone. He's already having to sacrifice his family life to work. And now he bought a new car, and he's got to put his nose more to the grindstone. May end up losing his marriage over that new car, losing his wife and children, losing everything he's got so that he can drive for a day or two a brand new car. Be careful how you judge things, my friend. Be kind. The Bible said here, be envious not. Don't be envious. And then another thing he said, don't be jealous. And never mind, be careful. Love has no competition in it. There is no competition against anybody in love. Love has no competition in it. It's not a competition game. It's not a game at all, period. It is an action. It is a feeling. It becomes you if you